Uh, Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, I know what we're gonna do today. We're gonna activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right. In honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the upcoming revival, I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here through the series, experiencing his reactions, watching it for the first time, and reliving my summer memories throughout the years. Today's episodes are Ready for the Betties and The Flying Fishmonger. Now, before we get into it, we had to have some interesting behind-the-scenes news to share regarding the new season.
Yeah.
Actually, just recently, they actually had their first writing session. They did recently reveal that they actually held their first writing session within the last week.
And on the week of the writer's strike. Oh, goody.
Well, technically, he revealed in the episode in the video title that it's like technically the writer that they're not held to the WGA. That they're under a different guild.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, he didn't exactly explain that in the video, but he explained it in the title. Like they're not tied to the WGA. I think they're tied to like the Animation Guild or something. I'm not sure on that.
Let's not get semantical about the guilds here. We're not on the board.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying technically they're not affected by the writer's strike. That's all.
Okay.
So that tells you that the season is well underway. But I guess that brings us to the first episode of today. Ready for the Betties. Story by Martin Olson, Bobby Gaylor. Storyboards Aliki Theophilopoulos, Kent Osborne, and Zach Moncrief directed it. And now, before we actually get into what your opinions were, Dragon, I actually do have some interesting background for this one. It's like, well, first stuff isn't so interesting, but like we have a guest star, Lucy Davis, who voiced the character Crash in this episode. She's known for Shaun of the Dead, the UK Office, character in Wonder Woman, and even the 10 Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as Hilda Spellman. Which technically and retroactively means that two actresses who played Hilda Spellman were in this show.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yep, because Caroline Rhea played her in Phineas and Ferb's mom. Actually played Hilda in in the 90s Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the real Sabrina, but that's just me.
That is fair. And obviously Lucy Davis played her in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix.
Did you ever watch the 90s Sabrina?
I have vague recollections of it. Like I remember Salem mostly.
I know we all remember Salem. Of course, the most memorable thing about Salem is that Salem is the voice of Norbert from Angry Beavers.
I didn't even make that connection.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. It's like, I love semantics. There's nothing more fun, LEB says.
It always drove me crazy when I was a kid watching Sabrina. He says, I know this guy. What do I know him from? And then you put it together. Like, oh, God, it's him.
Like, honestly, I wouldn't call myself like I didn't actually really watch Angry Beavers when I was younger, nor did I really watch much of Sabrina, so I didn't really make the connection. But it was a pretty popular thing back then, and I think I might have caught a few reruns here and there. So there's that. But there is something more interesting regarding this particular episode.
More interesting than Carolina Reed?
Reed, but yes.
All right.
Well, maybe depending on your definition, but this episode actually got into a bit of controversy.
Is it because of the fish?
No, it's like Ready for the Betties. There's a real life band called the Betties.
All right.
The writers were actually unaware of the band known as the Betties. It's like basically, to quote the wiki, this episode, along with its accompanying episode, went unaired in the United States from 2009 to 2015 due to an issue with a real-life band known as the Betties, whose existence the writers were unaware of at the time. That didn't stop it from appearing on Netflix and iTunes and still airing in other countries. Basically, and it didn't air from its initial airing again in the United States until like the last days of summer marathon, and now it regularly airs in reruns. So technically, yes, this episode, most copyright infringing episode, as LEB puts it. So yeah, this episode got into a bit of trouble. It was, I mean, sure, it was minor and nothing too breaking, but it did prevent it from airing for several years.
Okay.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting, like, retroactive kind of thing. Like one of the more interesting, like, outside of the show context that I can think of. All right, so now that that's out of the way, Dragon, what's your thoughts on Ready for the Betties?
Yeah, so I thought it was a great episode, mainly for the Perry the Platypus plot line. And not just per usual, just of the Doofenshmirtz and Perry stuff being good, but mainly because of how it crossed over majorly. One of our main stories that was rather groundbreaking. It's been a long time coming. I'm surprised that we did in season 1. Frankly, I mean, I guess after the milestones, like, yeah, let's just do them all. Let's just do all the big stuff.
I mean, obviously they don't interact with the Perry plot much, outside of they usually do, because I mean, but we do see happen again, and of course, across the second dimension, but in obviously a more dramatic sense.
Yeah.
But of course, like they're just going along with the ride, thinking that's just something they did, or just something that's there, not even questioning the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's Phineas just thinking that Ferb did it.
Well, again, let's hold off on that for a moment. But yes,
yeah, I know. But yeah, it's like this episode is definitely a lot of fun. I mean, obviously we have the Phineas and Ferb plot, and of course, I even didn't mind the whole Candace and Stacy being main focus of an episode for a change. which is kind of nice. I mean, we don't get a lot of Doofenshmirtz. We don't even know what his full plan was, but just the whole thing was hilarious.
It was a lot more developed than what his previous plan was. Well, I'm sorry, what his next plan is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, don't get me wrong, that next plan is funny too.
Oh, it's hysterical. I'm just saying in terms of how developed it is. Like, well, I mean, it was barely a concept what Doofenshmirtz had planned the next episode.
Yeah, that is true.
It was funny, but it was barely a plan.
I know, it's just more petty revenge.
Quote Guardians of the Galaxy, it was 12% of a plan.
It's like, you're just copying that from when I said I had a plan. Guys, we have Guardians of the Brink, because that just came out today.
Yeah.
Technically, we both saw it yesterday, but who's gonna semantics, as LEB would say.
Okay. So let's talk about the episode. So the Bettys.
Yes.
So yeah, so here's the thing. The Betty's plot line, I'm a little on the fence about, only in the sense of, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it at all. It's just the fact that I liked how everything worked out at the end. I think that's what saves the story for me. But it just feels, I mean, as a guy who like loves, we're always enraptured in our own fandoms and everything. There are people that we love, and there's always like the dream fan encounter, and of course you and myself. And we've been to cons.
Yep.
We've yes,
I've been to a con.
Fine, you've been to. Never. I don't know why I bothered. Just forget about it. Anyway,
go on. I'm sorry.
It's just anyway. The fact is, people who go to conventions as well, people who have like, if you've had the opportunity to meet, like someone you respect or you idolize or you really like. It's a crestfallen. You see Candace go having kind of a crestfallen moment with these celebrities, and again, it's part of the story and it does pay off well, and there's a bit of an arc there. But it just feels like we go a little broad with how the Bettys are mistreating their fans to a point where it's like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in real life by no means. I know it's a cartoon, we're exaggerating, but I mean, we make them clean the outside of a moving bus. It's a bit of a stretch.
Well, I can think that's kind of the point.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying there's a flaw there. It's just saying I'm kind of two minds about it. And I think putting in center stage, because we're flipping our plot lines like we usually do, because we're crossing over Phineas and Ferb and the Perry the Platypus stuff, it just feels like, like they're. I love the tour bus setting. I love that. the runaway bus thing as well. It feels like we have like a really dark bit where they're shredding fan mail, which again may be true to life depending on how insensitive the celebrity in question is. But I don't know. It just again, it's a fact that it all kind of works out. I think redeems a lot of it, but it still feels like, man, that's I don't buy that this band would be able to treat their fans like this poorly.
I mean, you don't know how often they've interacted with their fans in this way before.
I mean, maybe that's sure.
I mean, as you can probably imagine, they were also stumped trying to write a new song, and then they might have been taking it. I always saw this like they were taking it out on Stacy and Candace.
I guess it makes sense.
I could be entirely wrong. It's like, and as we said, they needed someone to clean the bus because rock stars they can clean up after themselves.
True.
Have you ever seen a hotel room after a rock star's in there?
They have a self-driving bus and a lackey, so
Well, that is true. And a pig.
yeah.
And ironically, the pig was cleaner than their bus.
Oddly enough, yes.
Yeah, he was a cute pig though.
See, and I'm just imagining that scene from Freakazoid where Cosgrove says, "That's one mighty cute pig." I forget the movie was called Babe Heart or not, but he had basically it was a fusion of Babe, Pig in the City, and Braveheart.
That's hilarious.
So the idea, of course, that was in just Cosgrove in response to this thing. Yeah, that was one mighty cute pig.
Cosgrove can just say anything, and it's hilarious.
Hey Cosgrove, why didn't you ever get married? Because I like meat too much while he's eating the sandwich.
It's like, well, you could be married and still eat meat.
Shoot.
I didn't know that. Oh god.
Anyway, we're reminiscing.
I know you could talk about Freakazoid for hours. And you
Literally,
have.
yes.
And you have.
Yeah. I could do it. I could do it with my eyes. I could do it with my eyes closed.
Well, I'm sure you could do it either way. You could probably do it in your sleep.
I have done it in my sleep, actually. Yes.
Okay, moving on.
All right, so let's talk about the boys. Well, Jacob, what are the boys getting themselves into this week?
Well, they initially had three different ideas. They were either build an escalator to the moon, be secret agents, or clone giant hamsters.
So personally, out of the three, I would have chosen the escalator to the moon. But that's just me.
Well, we did. Well, as you probably guessed, we do see them go to the moon eventually.
But do they ride an escalator?
No, it's more of an elevator.
Wait, really? Just an elevator?
Well, yeah, it's more offhandly mentioned, but they do actually build an elevator to the moon.
Okay. Look, I'm not shooting down the elevator is cool. It's just the fact that blueprint escalator.
And they do go to the moon on different occasions. So it's not so the moon isn't just a one-time thing.
Right.
But an escalator to the moon would be pretty nifty. And the hamsters, they'd probably just be very cute and cuddly, but just keep away from their teeth because those suckers can bite. Well, then again, they also have a platypus, so I don't really know. But they uncover Perry's secret base. It's amazing that since it's hidden in the tree, they didn't uncover it sooner. Phineas just casually leans on it and activates the panel.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Okay, it's going to be a big sticking point for this conversation here.
I can imagine.
So, one, it's just hilarious, and I was like, wait, hold it. Of all the places to put the secret panel, they're going to put on the tree the boys are leaning on all the time, and that leads us this hysterical idea of the boy that we crossed over 2 stories hilariously, and the status quo is in jeopardy. We're in Perry the Platypus's kind of hideout HQ base. And we just have this priceless kind of this priceless moment of the episode where the boys, as they're wondering, I wonder where he goes all the time, and they happen into this situation, and it's just this,
and it never once occurred no, maybe this is where Perry goes.
Yeah, so then we have just this running gag of Ferb just continually interrupted as he's trying to clarify. No, I didn't do this, Phineas.
It's like, when did you have the time to build all this, Ferb? Actually, I.
Yep. Welcome to my world, Ferb. Welcome to my world.
I mean, you do just as much interrupting as anyone else on this
I
channel.
do, but I go back to. I don't glaze over it though. I remember somebody said something. I go back to them.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Like,
so yes, Agent P for Phineas. So we have this great guy. Monogram is like an idiot. He's just reading the clipboard.
it's like look up from these notes, which I have yet to look up from.
I just Perry's. I love that Perry's just kind of stopping. We've done this. We've kind of teed up this guy before. Where he's like in the same vicinity as the boys. And he kind of freezes and he kind of panics. So he's just signaling, Monogram, you idiot! Shut up and look over here! Over here, you mustachioed moron! Over here!
Great googly moogly.
Yep.
And of course, we see Carl once again.
Okay, so Carl. So we learn, as Carl exposits, those are Agent P's owners.
Yeah.
Carl gets in hot water for putting that. We learn that Carl put the entrance in the tree.
It's like, where are you going, mister? The boys will never find a tree tunnel.
Okay, so Jacob, I think we should talk about Carl's employment status right now.
All right. Does that mean what I think it means?
It does indeed.
All right.
Carl's. Go on.
No, go on. You did it first.
Carl's job is in jeopardy, folks. He's Monogram's pointing out. You know what, Carl? I've had it. This is a huge foul up. The boys are in there because you were stupid enough to put the switch on the tree. You're out, but you'll never find anyone to replace me this hour named Carl. Will I call up the Council of Carls?
Now, who among these would be the best replacement for Carl in this situation?
I'm so glad you asked, Jacob. Let's run down. Let's pose that question to the audience, but let's figure it out for ourselves in the meantime. So, in a pinch, Major Monogram needs a Carl who's a good lackey, and who will not do something as stupid as put a switch on a tree.
What about Carl the robot?
Works for me. Fully assembled, right off the assembly line, ready to go, follow orders, and not a moron.
Yep. Ellie B says, if I was named Carl, I'd be fearful to lose my job to these guys all the time.
It's tough in the Carl market, my friend.
Yep. I mean, because let's just face it, Carl Weezer, he's not very good at keeping secrets. In the first
Sadly, no.
Carl from Johnny Bravo, he's too insane.
Pretty much, yeah.
Carl Fredrickson's too old.
Well, that's a little ageist of you.
well, I guess that's true, but
how dare you? He went all the way.
I know.
To boy, and
but he wants a peaceful life.
Yeah.
Okay, he wants a peaceful life. He probably doesn't want to be involved in the spy agency.
There you go.
Carl from SpongeBob, he'd be too by the books.
He's a company man.
Yeah, he'd probably do good, but he's too by the books.
Carl Moss doesn't care enough.
No, Carl Gold, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
Same
Carl the Robot again, prime choice. Carl Fatley, he'll foul it up.
Carl the store manager, I think he'd be too indifferent about the job.
I mean, he cares more about Carl. He cares more than Carl Moss does, though. To be
that
fair.
Is true. Carl Carlson from Simpsons.
He might not be bad, actually. Okay, Carl Carlson's actually I don't think he's the Carl the Robot, but he's
one of the few competent characters in The Simpsons.
There you go.
Like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I don't know anything about him.
Well, you know what? I mean, he'd be funny, but I don't think he wouldn't. It's going to be dueling mustaches between him and Monogram. It's not going to work.
Combat Carl would be
plastic, so no.
Yeah, and then he'd be trying to hide his identity more than anything else. Carl the Minion, he wouldn't do very good at it either.
Yep.
Carl Beaumont is too busy being dead.
Oh, ouch.
Am I wrong though, Dragon?
I mean, well, I mean timelines, but you know.
I definitely choose a minion. Like it's literally his thing. It says LEP.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a minion, but he's not very good at it. Remember, this is the guy that like Beto, Beto,
Yeah.
and of course Carlos Ramon.
Carlos.
He'd be too busy cracking puns.
I mean, still though. I mean, could he? Do you think? Do you think Carlos is
Maybe if he was slightly older, perhaps.
okay? Okay. Anyway, so again, we have our winner, Carl the Robot. Moving on.
Yes.
All right, we say LAB again says Carl the Minion. So that was her mistake. Now we're gonna move on from there. So okay. So anyway, so point being, we're yelling at Carl. Very funny. I love the Phineas and Ferb as they're in the Hopper car, like, all that little musical.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we hear that ever again.
Really?
I mean, I don't honestly. I don't think we do. I think it was just for this episode.
Oh well.
I mean, there's plenty of other jingles we deal with. All the Doofenshmirtz stuff, which I don't think was in any of these episodes. Well, then again, it might be in. Was it in Flying Fishmonger?
I don't actually, Jake, but I don't think it was in this grouping of episodes at all.
All right. It's Slim Pickens. There are a few cool Carls. It says LEB.
All right.
All right. But yeah, it's like, unfortunately, we didn't get any Doofenshmirtz jingle this time, which is of course sad.
True. All right, let's see. So I love Perry rushing to foil Doofenshmirtz, and of course, when the boys are in jeopardy, he springs into action, man. I love that. He's like, "Hey, Bobs, what are you doing?"
It's like, why'd you go? It's like nothing like a snack before I fire my inator. And the grilled cheese looked really good too.
Well, okay, Jacob. Here's an animation thing for you. That's recycled grilled cheese.
Yeah, I know. I mean, animation companies reuse things all the time.
I'm not doing an audit on them. I'm just saying they're reusing a sandwich as per the Easter eggs of animation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like that was the sandwich used in the Journey to the Center of Candace episode.
It's like LEB's on your side here.
Yes.
But yes. But yes, to admit though, it does look like a good sandwich.
That is true, yes. Enough about the sandwich.
But Perry just grabs Doofenshmirtz by the nose again. It's like,
love that.
It's like, I had to plan it, but why do you have to grab me by the nose?
I love that, just the idea Doofenshmirtz is self-conscious by the fact that his nose is such a grabbable kind of like weakness for him.
Like, remember, it's like, is my nose really that pointy?
Yeah, LB's quoting The Simpsons here. Worst episode ever. All right, let's see.
I mean, my worst episode of this show is yet to come up. It doesn't come up for like the third season.
And right now, I mean, look, I'm sure that if you say it's bad, it's probably gonna be really bad. I mean, so far it's the cow episode, but
I mean, that's the one that you don't like, and even you said it wasn't bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's not bad. So in terms of, I'm just saying by proxy, it's worse. But I'm sure an actual bad one's on the horizon.
I mean, it's like I said, I know pretty much all of the episodes based on their description. I would pretty much be able to name them. And it's like I'll let you know when I get to that particular episode, but it's not for a while. Obviously, there's ones I like more than the others, as you've noticed. But there's actually one that I actively refuse to rewatch. But we'll get to that later. It's like so obviously, like, you don't even really know what Doofenshmirtz's plan is beyond just like fire the Recap-inator and destroy something. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, so I love the tennis machine. I love like the machine firing, like the little tennis ball machine, which then gets into the mop launcher. One, I love the fact that to shut Doofenshmirtz up when they're hiding, he shoves the mop in his mouth.
It was like, why did I buy so many mops?
The fact that one, that's the mop visual's funny, but secondly, the fact that very coincidentally there is a mop launcher. It's not just like a group of mops; it's a group of mops inside the mop launcher. And this is not just a repurposed tennis machine. If you look, the way that thing is designed, Okay, that's not like it's not shoved into the slots for the tennis balls. No,
It's different.
that machine is designed specifically to shoot mops at a target. In this case, Doofenshmirtz's mouth.
It's like, why did I buy so many mops?
Good question. It's a good. Oh, I know why. I know why.
Why?
Doofenshmirtz. There's a theme to this episode. Doofenshmirtz of Doofenshmirtz Evil
Evil
Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Had to get in there somewhere.
Yes.
He fired his maid episodes back.
The lore.
Lordy, 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 lore.
Yes.
Little star lore for you. Okay.
As we mentioned, we still have Guardians on the brain.
Yes, we do. Anyway. Okay, so let's see the boys. Yeah, so the Recap-inator
Fires. Well, first off, like Perry activates the self-destruct button because of course it has a self-destruct button.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually self-destruct, does it? It actually goes off and it vaporizes the part of the bridge.
I think so. Yeah. It deactivates part of the bridge, and they begin to think that their mission is to save Candace. It's like seriously, Ferb, when did you make all this? For the last time, I didn't.
Yep.
You feel bad for Ferb in this episode.
I do.
And that's not the only time Phineas is completely oblivious or anything like that.
Well, we can see where he got it from.
Yes, he got it from Linda. He's definitely Linda's son.
Well, honestly, I've seen more Lawrence than Linda, but
Well, Lawrence isn't really oblivious.
I know he's not. Well, wait, what?
I said Lawrence isn't really oblivious per se.
I don't know about that.
And remember, he's their stepfather. So
I know. I meant that doesn't mean he can't inherit things just hanging around. Like can't just be learned.
Yeah, I know, but still.
My point is, Lawrence is pretty. I don't know. Lawrence is pretty oblivious. I felt. I mean, I know he's in the know for that one episode with the monster trucks, but then I don't know.
He's pretty well aware of what they do most of the time, anyway. I mean, remember, and when he does, he doesn't really get them in trouble for it. He doesn't. He thinks it's.
Well, by the same token, Linda isn't oblivious. She just has bad timing.
Yeah, and she just doesn't believe people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see later on what I mean.
All right. Okay.
When she can literally miss things right in front of her sometimes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, but still, you feel bad for Ferb in this particular. But so we get back to the Bettys, or do you want to finish off the Doofenshmirtz stuff?
I mean, honestly, I don't really have much to say about the Bettys aside from, it's kind of nice to see Candace, the Bettys kind of realize they're in their ways, and then basically turns into Speed.
What about how Stacy was actually happy to clean everything?
Yes, I think Stacy's just gleeful, to literally scrub the toilets of the Bettys.
Yay, toilets!
Okay, so I'm going to say this episode, folks, believe it or not, the Gritty reboot is actually it's more of I don't know how to phrase this.
Do I need to bring up the banner?
I'm conflicted about it because the Gritty reboot is just more like it's more like Gritty implications.
Okay, go on.
Essentially, we don't really need to invent anything. We just use what's there. We're just going to talk about if we just were a little bit more self-aware of what was going on here, it'd be even sadder. Just the fact that, oh man, look at what Stacy's doing. This is what's bringing her joy in life. It's the fact that I'm cleaning their toilets. It's just more like victimization before your eyes on Stacy's part. There, oh man, that's just awful. She's caught in a cycle of bullying to a degree.
Fortunately, though, Candace is there to basically stand up for her and everything, and I'm not going to say stand up for her, but stand up to the Bettys.
Yeah.
These reboots are getting bolder and more complex by the second.
Yep.
Yes, we're no longer not necessarily doing anything, with body horror or bringing back clones or anything like that. No, we're going into the psychological territory.
Yeah.
We're getting all psychological on it.
Yep.
That doesn't mean we can't go into the more graphic stuff later on.
Well, we'll see what comes up.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure there's prime examples of it in the next episode.
We'll get there.
Yes. It's like, so the Betty break breaks. And basically, as he said, it turns into speed. Turns into speed. So it's like Phineas and Ferb race off to save the bus, the Betty bus.
Yeah. Brief tangent. No, we'll go on. Actually, go on with the salient point. Then I'll chime in.
Yep, it's like, and of course Phineas and of course Phineas is like, "Can you give me more power?" which even the captions indicate that he's parodying, imitating Captain Kirk in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice. And of course, Perry's the one who actually helps them save the day with his, which we had to admit his whole like inflatable seat is pretty cool. All right, so what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up something kind of dumb. Is that whenever I think of Speed these days, I keep thinking of my favorite episode of The Flash, in which Mark Hamill as the trickster he just name drops the Speed in like his big kind of death trap for the Flash. Do you know that movie Speed? Keanu Reeves, Sandy Bullock. You know, like that's the bomb. That's the bomb. You're the bus, and good luck.
Wait, Mark Hamill was in the CW Flash.
Yeah, they brought him back as the same character.
Huh?
It's my favorite episode. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I had no idea.
Better is that episode shows you essentially the origin of the Reverse Flash, which is even cooler.
So it was like in season 1 and 2 then.
No, it's in season 1. Season 1, episode 18, Tricksters.
Huh, all right.
That's my favorite. Easily my favorite episode of the show.
I kind of figured it wouldn't be anything past 2.
No. That's all the season 1's all Reverse Flash, and then he just kind of chimes in 2. But he's all season 1's the big standout for Flash. Anyway,
he said it becomes bad, pretty much mediocre after 2.
After 2, yes, 2 is basically 2. After 2, it's just the question of like when's the Reverse Flash going to show up again? Where's Tom Cavanaugh? That's really all you're watching at that point. At least that's mainly me. Anyway, the refocus here. So,
or as LB puts it, brief Betty pageant.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the boys, they get dropped off in Isabella's pool.
Yeah, it's like usually she'd be happy about that kind of thing. But she's like, seriously, Phineas, what are you doing?
He's doing like a little Connery. Phineas doing the impression, doing Captain Kirk. He's doing Connery.
That's classified information.
It's
like, usually you'd think that she'd be all for Phineas suddenly falling into her pool.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised they didn't do like a little Bond thing where he's walking out of the pool. He's like, he's waving his hair or something back and forth.
And of course, it would all be beyond her head.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. So,
to be fair, pretty much anybody would be weirded out of somebody suddenly falling into their pool. So,
pretty much.
I mean, I don't have a pool, but I can probably imagine that if I owned one and someone suddenly fell out of the sky into it, yeah, I'd be pretty concerned too.
It's like that family from the Ant-Man movie. You remember the ones that are in the climax and like just, oh god, this random like briefcase falls and out of it pops out Ant-Man Darren Cross is his Yellow Jacket, just like going at it.
Like, I'm not usually don't usually like this term, but a rumor of Isabella not being a simp. Yep, that is a rare case.
All right. So, the boys, in a kind of a fun subversion here, Linda is making pie, and Linda is like, oh man, I didn't hear from Candace at all this episode. And this is the outlandish story is like, Mom, you won't believe what we did today. And she's like, what? We fell in Isabella's pool. That I believe.
Yeah, but she tries to tell them about. He tries to tell Linda about the whole spy adventure. It's like Ferb, tell him. Actually, why are you all wet? I give up.
Love it.
Ferb just walks away angry.
I've been there, man. I feel for this green-haired child.
And that's the last we see of him this episode.
Yeah, he walked out Jacob, he didn't just walk out of the episode. He walked off the set. Okay, when this happened, this was not scripted. Okay, I'm amazed you didn't bring this up during the background. Okay, this is a big moment. Everyone's heard about this in the industry. I mean, the idea like, you know what, Ferb was just having a really off day. And when she stepped over his line to make a funny, he's like, you know what? Everyone's been walking over me this whole episode. You know what? Just F you, F that. Calls him calls him like a wanker or something. He walks off.
Like, well, in this case, it'd be pronounced Wonka.
Yeah. Just walks off, and he's just like,
so it's all like Roger, like Baby Herb and Roger Rabbit.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
And there's like they have the animated versions of Bob Meyer and Swamp. He's like, Ferb, no, come on, come back. We one more take, please.
Remember, be the live action versions of them, Dragon.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
So it's like, as you can tell, Ferb's actually muttering to himself as he walks away too.
And now we know why. He's singing it's Phineas and Ferb, not Phineas and Linda interrupts. Okay, it's not. It's not Phineas. Oh, look, there's the platypus and Ferb. It's Phineas and Ferb and God knows what else.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I'm playing the guitar in the intro. I get the last line of the episode, and she's stepping over my line. And you're going to end this episode on Candace? I'm out. Swampy, you can eat me. I'm out of here.
Okay, that was random. But yeah, so it's like, so obviously they do break the fourth wall, so that wouldn't be too far out of the ordinary. They don't do that. They get more to breaking the fourth wall later on.
Yeah, no, by the way, we're kidding. I'm sure Ferb's really nice on the set. I'm sure he doesn't have off days like that. I'm sure it all goes nice. Like sunshine and rainbows. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's just really quiet.
Of course, they apologize to him by saying, "Hey, Ferb, you know how you can know that we care about you, buddy, and you deserve that top bill. You want to know how? You need a symbol of why you're important, of how important you are to us." He asked why, and he's like, "Well, how? How do I know that?" It's just like, look at Doofenshmirtz, and then unison they say this: Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. They do like a little dance for him, and they point out the set, like, look at that. Look at. Does that remind you of anyone, buddy? He says, It's me. Yes, it is, because we love you and we respect you and we want to keep our talent happy. So every time you doubt that, every time Linda improvises, you know what? Look at that building. That's you, buddy. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they even point that out in the second dimension where he's like, Ferb, we're heading for that building that's shaped vaguely like your head.
And in his head, he's thinking, I know why it's shaped like my head, and that makes me feel good about things.
I mean, I actually know the real reason why it's shaped like that.
Why is the real reason shaped like that?
Because Swampy actually used to be an architecture student.
Well, it doesn't really tell us why it's shaped like a green-haired boy's head.
Well, I mean, the reason it's shaped the way it is, the awkward shape, is because he's like intentionally trying to design a poorly designed building.
Well, wait, so the building it's like the chicken or the egg. Did the building come before Ferb's head, or Ferb's head come before the building?
I mean, considering the sketches, I'm gonna guess Ferb came first. I mean, the building might just be a coincidence, but I do not know.
Okay. Anyway,
but basically, Swampy did other things before he was in animation, and one of the things he was in was he was an architecture student.
So I think our ending shoehorned in with it feels shoehorned in like the whole, hey, let's see what Candace is doing, which the fact that we outside the whole Phineas and Ferb, which is kind of a catchy jingle, we did not really have a song in this episode until the very end, despite having like a musical component to the episode with a band, which feels odd that we didn't really do a song with the band.
I mean, considering one of the parameters of beating up with them was help them write a song, so yeah. So it's not like it was just shoehorned in. I mean, it was there from the beginning.
I mean, Jacob, I don't mean it doesn't make sense that we get a song and necessarily that we put it at the end. It just feels like, man, we really had to fill our quota here, and we put it at the very end, like the very end.
Yep. Speaking of which,
feels like, man, they really have to work in like a song in every episode. Like the only way we could do it in this case, like we're gonna have a band and we're working on a song, and we'll think. Basically, like, okay, guys, crunch time. We're gonna put a lot of effort into this, into our episodes here. Mainly the next episode that we're about to talk about, and. Okay, guys, we're gonna have a song. Disney wants songs. They want like a song every episode. I guess we'll just have a group, and they'll basically be what we're doing right now. They're trying to come up with a song. They're struggling. We're gonna have some laughs with Candace, and at the very end, we'll have a song by then. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
yeah. And that song is the name of the episode, "Ready for the Betties,"
Yeah,
written by Danny Jacobs, Swampy, Martin Olson, Dan Pomemeyer, and Aliki Theophilopoulos. The Betties actually performed the song, and it was actually done by Olivia, and the vocals were actually done by Olivia Olson. As we also know, voices Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Yep, the thing is, she actually provided a lot of like guiding tracks for like when Ashley Tisdale was singing for Candace.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of fun background there.
Do you know what they really do when Ferb's having a bad day on set?
What?
They have Vanessa meet him at craft service, and they have lunch together. That's what calms them down. You know what they have?
What do they have?
Sandwiches.
Ferb likes sandwiches.
Exactly. That's how they calm the talent down.
I mean, remember, he chased after Candace for a sandwich.
That's what I'm saying. The only thing that's going to soothe the savage beast, it's going to be a sandwich and Vanessa.
Although you have to admit, it does end on a good note with that's like, what do you think your brothers are doing right now? Who cares?
Yep, and it's just going to go back right back to things as usual next episode.
I mean, but it shows that she's not always focused. That she can't break her focus from busting them and can enjoy the moment.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to very many concerts in my life, and I'm actually going to one in September. So it's like something I can kind of relate to where she's coming from on that. Sometimes it's just fun to live in the moment, not worry about things. As she doesn't want to worry about her brothers. But so I think that closes off Ready for the Betties, and that leads us to the Flying Fishmonger. Bobby Gaylor, Martin Olson wrote the episode. Storyboard by Kim Robertson and Elizabeth Ito, and Zach Moncrief directed it. And of course, returning guest stars with Malcolm McDowell and Jane Carr as the grandparents. His grandpa Reg and Winifred. It's nice to actually see Malcolm McDowell return again. See the grandparents return, this time stateside.
Yeah, it's a first.
So how are you coming down on this one, Dragon?
I love this episode.
Oh, really? You love this one?
It's a little light on the Doofenshmirtz, but I mean it's hilarious when we do get a Doofenshmirtz. Let me this way, I love the Doofenshmirtz stuff. However, you got to admit, the very end, plot wise, in terms of what Doofenshmirtz's plan was, and this is saying a lot given it's Doofenshmirtz. Just saying, it's like we literally put him in this episode only to fill the backyard. That's the only reason Doofenshmirtz is in this episode.
I mean, most of the plans exist to coincide in some way. So.
I get that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, and that seems like a problem with that formula. It's just the issue of like the plan itself was like literally designed to a giant bucket of sand. And we don't even use it specifically to fill the thing. We use it as like a Rube Goldberg way of like filling. I don't know. It just it's funny. It's just really, man. That's kind of a weird. Like we really did not have any legit ideas of how to have Doofenshmirtz really factor into the resolution of this episode. Really parallel things. Just like Doofenshmirtz is gonna have a ridiculous plan. It's gonna be hysterical, and then we're just gonna like luck out at the very end.
Well, it's just more like a way that it interacted in a way we didn't expect.
I guess. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's fine. It's just kind of laughably like, man, he really we really just wanted to work Doofenshmirtz into this episode. That's really ultimately what it reads as.
I mean, think about it. Like, part of the fun of the show is like trying to think of how will these things interact. Like, how will these different plans intersect with each other? And sometimes it's not always in ways we expect. Sometimes they don't intersect at all. Sometimes it's an outside means that interrupt both of these things. As it Doofenshmirtz sand trauma was funny enough to make up for his plight being pointless.
Yep.
And would yep. All right, so I guess that means we can get into the episode with Grandpa Reg beginning to tell his fantastical stories. Specifically, starts off with the whole. But that's not just how I beat the wild tigers of the Amazon. So, it's like, so what are you making of all this?
So again, I love Malcolm McDowell. I've had the pleasure of meeting the man. He's wonderful. So I love the fact that he plays Grandpa Reg, and we go very English with him here. Honestly, I think he's probably better here than he was in the initial episode.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, there's nothing wrong in the initial episode. He appeared when we went overseas to meet them. It's just the fact of like, I don't know, like he kind of pops a little bit more here when he's like the English guy in the American country.
And then like how he's more involved in the actual story.
Yeah,
like as he was there, and it was kind of his idea in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like more, he like played more the king. It was like more in the background at that point.
Yeah,
he's actually like kind of like the major proponent in this one. Like where we actually learned part of his history, like how he was like first it was like the son of a fishmonger, like a fish salesman.
Yeah.
He became a daredevil.
So that's the thing. I love all of that with him. I love that backstory. I love the design of like him and his father. I love the whole the holy mackerel, the vehicle design there. That's great. The whole family fish and chip shop, and he was became a mascot of sorts as as basically the English Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah, it's like jumping over all kinds of. Okay, let's see. Jumping over
Tea Society, over the Queen Mum herself.
A whale, a ton of crumpets.
Yep.
And of course, the one that ultimately did him in, McGregor's Gorge.
Named after Ewan McGregor.
Most likely, I guess.
No, I'm guessing. Who the heck knows? I'm just saying. Imagine if this is like, no, we just really love Ewan McGregor here. Just wanted to call it McGregor's Gorge. Like, oh, really? Oh, that's nice. Or like maybe more storied. Like, you know why it's called McGregor's Gorge?
Why is it called McGregor's Gorge?
Ewan McGregor, over a process of many years, he had this gorge created. He dug this gorge.
Yeah, it's like before he was even born.
Or better yet. Okay, here's what they do.
Yeah.
Here's how you get a gorge with a name on it. You get it one of two ways. One, you die, which is why we have like Clara's Ravine in Back to the Future 3. Or
soon to be called Eastwood.
Well, yeah, yes. I know, I love that. That's great, yes. And the flip side, the silly way in which the living way in which you get is that but only people with the last name McGregor, in this case, can dig that gorge. So if McGregor's leading the charge, he's assembled a crew of hopefully in shape men named McGregor, and they will dig that gorge. They create that gorge.
That is true.
A bunch of construction guys or just average Joes who are like doing this on the weekend, and they've created McGregor's Gorge.
A more mundane way, though, would be like just like donate the land as a preserve, or like spend money to get your name on it.
Or the more horrific thing, Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor like finds one guy named McGregor, he takes him there.
That would be like, I would love to build a gorge, and would be my magnum opus.
McGregor takes another McGregor, like Conor McGregor, someone like the fighter.
Doesn't Ewan McGregor have a brother?
I mean, he might. I mean, I think he does.
I think so. The Ewan McGregor brother. Yep, Colin McGregor.
Okay, so just to make it more twisted, Ewan McGregor takes Colin McGregor?
Yep, Colin McGregor.
Takes Colin. Ewan takes Colin to say, "Oh, look at this gorge! Isn't it regal and nice? Isn't this nice? Isn't this like a nice gorge? Don't you just want a basket? Yeah, I wish I could own a piece of land like this. Oh, me too." Colin, what's that over there? I think I dropped something off the side. Did you see it fall down? Oh, he shoves them. And it's like, oh no, my brother's fallen. We should name this in honor of him.
It's like, which is kind of funny. It's kind of ironic considering Colin McGregor is actually actually a fighter pilot.
Okay.
So yeah. it's like while Linda, Lawrence, Winifred, and Candace go to the mall to get Candace some to shop for Candace, basically.
They get the Candace finery.
It's like, I love to get Candace some new clothes.
Okay, now we have this. Oh, this gag here is not only do we get Candace clothes, we get Candace. I'm trying to get the gag. Oh, Candace meet you in the car.
Yep, she leaves the dust trail behind.
Yeah, it says car.
Like LAB calling out Dan, like, tell us why the gorge is called that. Dan.
Jacob, throw it up.
Okay, throw it up. Should I leave this up too?
I mean, if you can, sure.
Okay.
Hiya, fellas. Dan, we got a question for you here. LEB, faithful commenter. LEB wants you, Big Puffy, to tell us why the gorge is called McGregor's Gorge. Are you a big fan of McGregor? Obviously, we know you love Star Wars, mainly old Star Wars. So that begs the question, do the prequels make the cut? Jacob, were there prequel references in the thing, or do we want to save that for when we find out? Do you think there's a conspiracy of Ewan McGregor love fest going on here?
Technically, there are a couple references to the prequels in the Star Wars special.
Someone say hello. Hello there.
No, but it's more like a reference to like there's like those Wattos. There's like a relative of Wattos appears,
Okay.
and also reference to Jar Jar.
The fact of the matter is, Dan Swampy, the jury's out. We don't know why. You hold all the answers, my friend. Could you please tell us why it's called McGregor's Gorge? That'll be all. Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to think that Dan Palmer is somehow directing us all to like an answering machine or an answering service of some kind. He's like listening to these.
It's like it would be pretty funny. It's like, Dan. And he's probably. I mean, he's extremely busy, so I doubt he'd even take his time to listen to this stuff.
Sure. Dan, look, there's a writer's strike going on right now that may or may not affect you. It really doesn't affect him. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he's unsure.
Like, I mean, well, it's more like the fact that he's working on basically 2 shows at the same time.
Right. Dan, you gotta prioritize, okay? And you know what? You don't want to be like the Bettys. The Bettys are shredding up fan mail and they're deleting messages. You know, they don't read that stuff. They don't listen to that stuff. Don't be the Bettys. Be better than the Bettys. Hashtag better Bettys.
Yes.
Hashtag better Bettys, bub.
Well, I'm not going to put that in the description.
Right.
I could though, but I'm not.
Okay.
But
anyway,
like so basically that's when. So basically, after he tells them about his daredevil exploits, he tells them that due to the fact that he's about to jump over McGregor's Gorge, it was
in the Holy Mackerel.
And in the Holy Mackerel, the event was so massive that he hired a local band to write the theme song.
Yep.
And let's just say they weren't very good.
No.
It's like, he's a fishmonger and he flies.
He's a fishmonger and he flies. He's a fishmonger and he flies.
And possibly related to the rain, to the song, it starts to rain, so it doesn't work. So it has to be postponed. He does it again, then it rains.
You want to hear what the "So You Want to Be an Imagineer" theme song in this timbre is?
What?
There are Imagineers in chairs, so what? There are Imagineers in chairs, so what?
I mean, to be fair, I am in a desk chair right now.
Well, there you go.
It's actually my therapist's old chair.
Wait, how did you get your therapist's old chair?
Well, he was like getting rid of a lot of his old rolling chairs.
He gave you a chair.
Well, he was giving everybody chairs who wanted one, because he was like replacing them with new chairs.
He just,
And
he
I
just
need-
gave chairs out.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a really nice therapist. Just gave you a chair.
Yep. He was asking if we wanted them because he was just gonna throw them away. He's just gonna throw them away.
Were these all chairs that had wheels on them?
Yes.
How many chairs does this man have?
Well, remember, Dragon, he's a therapist for people with ASD.
Well,
So naturally he actually has quite a bit of chairs.
where does he keep all these chairs? How big's that on? Anyway, we're drifting off focus here. Let's circle back.
I mean, he's believe it or not, my therapist was actually the subject of a documentary. Well, it's part of the documentary.
About large offices that have many wheeled chairs?
Dragon, have you heard of like the HBO documentary How to Dance in Ohio?
No.
Well, basically the documentary was filmed at my therapist's office.
Do we see the chairs?
Most likely.
Okay.
But seriously, it's an HBO documentary, and a lot of the people that I'm familiar with are actually subjects of the documentary.
Are they sitting in the chairs when they're interviewed?
Dragon, it's not about the chairs.
I don't know.
All I'm saying is like that's where I got my chair.
All right.
And it's a nice chair.
Anyway,
but speaking of furniture, it's like we figure out what happened to the holy mackerel.
it got turned.
It's like what happened to the holy mackerel?
Oh yeah, it's right over here. Your mother turned into a lamp.
It's like you'd think they would have noticed that sooner.
I gotta tell you, that's my favorite delivery of Malcolm McDowell in this show so far. Is you turned it into a lamp.
Like it's right over there. It's like
Yep.
It's like if over the years my eyesight went, and with the lumbago,
You get it. The lumbago and the bursitis.
and
Wait for it.
Boing.
Trick knee. I love how the boys are so disturbed by hearing like the trick knee sound.
I mean, would you be disturbed by that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And the trick knee, Dublin McGregor's gorge as an intention lost to the past.
Yep.
And she's right over there. Although I see your mother turned her into a lamp.
Love it.
It's like you think Phineas and Ferb would have noticed that sooner.
Well, she might have brought it out. You know, okay, headcanon time.
Yeah.
She brought it out to, it's like one of those things when you have an in-law, it's like, yeah, I'm never really going to use this, but you know what? I made a lamp. He's coming over. I'm going to put it out so he can see it.
Yeah, that's a good argument.
There you go. All right.
It's still kind of unusual to turn a motorbike into a lamp.
Okay, you ready for quote-unquote, it's more like gritty implications, but you ready for gritty reboot time?
Gritty reboot time.
Okay. So the jump forward slightly to what we reveal. So we reveal the sad band is actually making the heavens so sad they are weeping. So
I mean, that's pretty much the implication in the episode.
Well, no, I'm getting to the implication right now. So here's the implication. Just the fact that because of this odd astronomical, I think it might be a better meteorological anomaly.
Yes.
Anyway, because of this weird meteorological anomaly, Grandpa Reg, he basically we don't focus on it here, but we just kind of we're kind of swept in the comedy, obviously, but we have this lovely and heart and kind of sad story about it. He was a daredevil, and every time he tried to do this big trick, basically his Evel Knievel jump. Like the Evel Knievel jump, you remember the Evel Knievel. You know the Evel Knievel story, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole, him doing the rocket thing.
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, so essentially he's equivalent to that. Every time it's rain and everything is to the point where he gave up and his body is given out of him as we accentuate with comedy, the eyesight, the lumbago, the bursitis, and the trick knee, all that. And he learns this is the reason why. All because like, hey, I hired a local band. It's more like, oh, the wasted years. Just the implication, the depression that's got to set in. This the fact of like, just imagine that sinking in. Just the whole like, oh God, like my body is withered before me. All because of that stupid band. It kept raining and raining, and if I just told him not to play or play something else, I could have achieved all my wildest dreams. I wouldn't have grandkids. I would have the places I would have gone. And look where we're at now. It's and I'm an old man doing this jump now. I'm likely gonna die now because of this stupid band.
Well, at least he would die doing what he loves.
But he didn't have to, Jacob. That's the thing. He could have done this. Yeah, he could have died like the actual chance. Now he's like, the chances would have been even. Would have been 50-50. Now it's like 80-20. It's a good 20, but still it's 80-20.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
He's got a trick knee.
It's not like. All right. Is that enough of the gritty reboot?
Yeah.
All right, because I already switched back. Just a little bit of how's your father?
Okay, all the Englishisms is really fun. The fact that Ferb, for the most part, can translate.
Like when he was younger, he did a bunch of stuff.
I love that. Of course, I do love the English saying "How's your father?" It's good.
Do you know what that actually means?
I mean, the thing is, a lot of what he's saying, I've heard used in kind of like more dirty context with the English stuff. I mean, how's your father? Like, let me put it this way: if I understand it right, how's your father essentially means like funny business. Essentially, that's where the crazy stuff comes into.
It's more to do with sex, basically.
That's what I mean. So I think that's traditionally what it means, to my understanding. But that's what I'm saying. The whole crazy stuff. That's kind of what our kid friendly translation that Ferb's kind of laying out here.
Well, technically, Ferb didn't translate a little bit of "How's your father," but what he translated earlier was like, it's like, I might seem like a balmy old git now, but when I was long, wasn't so long with a tooth, I had some grand locks and engaged in a fair amount of daring do. When he was young, I did a bunch of stuff.
So, how's your father? And it's so funny that Malcolm McDowell, of all people, is saying this because he's really widely known for like listing out all this sort of stuff, especially the darker, dirtier stuff from The Clockwork Orange, to put him on the map.
Well, I mean, he did a whole bunch of that stuff. He did a whole bunch of that in Clockwork Orange.
And that's what I mean. In Clockwork Orange, you have like the big euphemism in Clockwork Orange is in and out. That's what they really. That's the main thing they call it. Like, how's your father's like the S?
The old and out.
No, the in and out.
Okay, I thought it was like the old and out.
No. It's a oh wait, do you mean the old and out?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying like old and out. I didn't know you said in. Okay.
Yeah.
The old in and out. Essentially, old in and out, or a little, like basically the old in and out, or a little in and out.
Yes. Obviously,
of course, this is during the most horrific, like singing in the rain sequence, but you know.
And obviously, they can't reference that here.
Oh, that's the thing. I love that. If Malcolm McDowell, if he ever wants to terrify people, all he has to do is sing in the rain.
It's like, although funnily enough, next week, Dragon, there actually is a reference to Clockwork Orange in next week's episode.
Tell me, and let me guess, he's not in the episode.
He's not in the episode.
See, that's just a missed opportunity.
Clancy Brown is, though.
Oh, okay.
So we do get someone else.
Yeah.
And it's like, so technically, yes, the series doesn't shy away from referencing one of the most infamous X-rated films of all time.
Yep. All right.
I mean, think about it. This is a show that has actors from both the Rocky Horror Picture Show and freaking Clockwork Orange.
If memory serves, yeah, the Gene Kelly's estate, they really were not happy with Clockwork Orange.
Like that, I don't know.
Let's say I forget who. Well, I don't think it was the studio. I think it was his family, particularly. I think they were very vehemently opposed. Like, no, I forget how Kubrick said not. Yeah, Kubrick. I forget how Kubrick convinced them otherwise, or how he got it in there ultimately. I don't know if he did like a song and dance on them or not, or if it's just like lawyers doing what they do or not. But the idea is like someone said, you cannot have this horrible act go on to singing in the rain.
And obviously the protest went unfounded.
That's what I'm saying. So it's yeah. I don't know if I think the loophole. If I'm a betting man, I think the loophole was the fact that he sung it instead of them playing the song. I think that's what the loophole was, but I can't verify.
It would fall under like parody or something.
That's what I don't. Anyway.
Probably not parody, but fair use.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, okay, so Candace feels like a disturbance in the landscape here.
It's like I feel like they just broke ground in our backyard, Stacy.
Or to quote, because if Tiki were, I'm feeling a disturbance right now. Well, someone's on a vacation right now. Tiki, I gotta bring up, they broke new ground.
They did indeed.
So rarely do we get to use that one.
It's like technically they broke old ground, considering it's their own backyard.
Anyway. Raining on my red letter media parade. Speaking of rain. Yes. Speaking of rain, with the whole the flying fishmonger, he flies.
Yeah.
So we have Isabel and company. They're playing a song during the rain. Well, but basically they're playing a song that we learn summons the rain. Then we come up with a new jaunty tune for them.
A flying fishmonger,
which is great.
And it is. It's like Bobby Gale, Robert F. Hughes, Danny Jacob, Martin Olson, and Dan wrote the song.
Yeah, I love it.
It is definitely a more jaunty tune.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's see. So the boys, let's do a little side tangent for the sidecars. How cool are sidecars, man?
I love sidecars.
I know, don't they? It's wonderful.
It's like having your co-pilots riding next to you in the car. The Robin to your Batman.
It's always a shame that they did not use the Bat Cycle enough in the 60s Batman TV shows. The Bat Cycle obviously is a thing from 60s Batman, but mainly in the movie.
It's like, yeah, I know you'd be all over that one.
But it's the craziest thing in the 60s Batman movie when you watch it.
I mean, in my Bible Dragon, that doesn't really narrow it down much.
Fair point. Something crazy about the motorcycle.
Okay.
Is when the sidecar splits off of the Bat Cycle. Burt Ward has no way of slowing that thing down. There's no controls. Okay, that thing is he's basically poor Burt Ward. He is like in that sidecar as it separates, and he's just praying to God.
He's torpedoed forward.
He is torpedoed forward, Jacob. That's the thing. That's a matter of like, you gotta remember back in the 60s Batman when they're shooting the show, but I guess the movie as well, the pattern would continue. Burt Ward was not abused in like the horrific Hollywood kind of way of abuse, but abused in the, I guess, the other, basically in the dangerous kind of like lack of procedures that now is a much more serious thing. Back then it was more of like, it's the 60s, it's fine, or Burt Ward was like, he got injured on set almost daily.
He did a lot of his own stunts, right?
Well, that's the thing, that he had a stunt man, but the problem was Burt Ward tells the story so hilariously. See, Adam West's stunt double, it was a great guy, but the Burt Ward's stunt double was always on like a coffee break. It was always on like at the snack table on a coffee break because they needed Burt Ward in shots a lot because Burt Ward actually could fight. So in a lot of scenes, they need him to fight and do stuff, but beyond that, like in shots, they kept needing to see his face, especially in the Batmobile when it comes out of the cave and everything. They need to see it.
Yeah.
So because of that, they could never. So rarely could they get the stunt double in there, and so he did a majority of his own stunts, and many times, almost always injured himself.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, poor Burt Ward.
Yeah, but he lived to tell about it.
I mean, the nickname was he was Burn Ward because he did get burned a lot, especially like when the Batmobile did like the shot the fireworks up, like little fireworks would fall on his like little sparklers would burn his arms.
Now it would really be worrisome if he got burned while doing Return of the Cape Crusaders.
Oh God, yeah, you're right about that. Oh, I can imagine this. Yeah, I think the minimal version is like, ow, I got a paper cut. Oh, Bert.
I mean, that's probably the worst that would happen.
Adam West saying, oh, Bert, don't be such a baby.
Old chum.
Yeah.
You don't even put an old chum in there.
He would. Old chum, don't be such a baby. We have 90 more pages to get through.
So obviously, they don't record it all at once.
I know. Okay, well, let's just move on.
Yeah, we're going off on a tangent anyway.
I know. Yes. Let's see. Well, point they do the jump in the awesome sidecar, and they fall. They plummet very, very, very far.
Yeah, but they actually did come up with a solution.
They fall with style.
Yep, and they activate the wings.
Yeah, they do some gliding and it breaks off, and it's chaos, and they end up crossing the thing anyway, so it all worked out.
Like, spot of tea?
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's amazing that he got the tea without it like spilling out of the cup.
We should also talk about the newsie.
Like, extra, read all about it and find Fishmonger jumps McGregor's gorge.
Never mind, he doesn't, they plummets to his death. Okay, no, never mind then.
Extra, forget it.
Love it.
Yeah, but we're missing something. We haven't talked about something else, Dragon.
Let's talk about that platypus, that hatted platypus.
Yes, but first off, Major Monogram is thrown out his back.
I love this idea. I love the monogram. And it falls to Carl.
Carl does a reasonable job in this one, except he messes up the close-up.
Yep.
It's like zooms in like directly into his face.
Yep.
It's like Doofenshmirtz has been seen purchasing the following items, like bags of sand and an extra long shoelace.
Yep. Oh God. I forgot about the shoelace.
Well, I mean, you need an extra long shoelace to tie an extra large boot.
No, I don't question the logic there. It's just, yep.
Like the question is, where did you get the extra large boot?
Well, probably, it's probably they're playing by Dick Sprang rules from Batman. It's just, there's gonna be like a shoe factory that has like a giant shoe on the roof.
Well, there's literally a giant vacuum cleaner factory which had an actual working vacuum.
Every time you see that, Jacob, again, that's Dick Sprang.
What do you mean, the giant vacuum cleaner?
Because the giant items that are on top of buildings and stuff, they had oversized props. So there's a loving homage to Dick Sprang.
All right, that does make sense.
All right.
But yeah, so what is Doofenshmirtz's plan, Dragon?
Okay, first of all, I love that Perry's like sneaking around outside. Oh, just get in here!
Like, just right into my trap.
I just love the fact that he knows he's sneaking around. Just get in here already.
Like, well, you do it for so long, you kind of begin to anticipate it.
So he's stuck on fly paper.
Yeah, well, Perry's able to easily get out of it.
Because he's got tube socks. What is this, 1977?
That was like 1975 or something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking, I had Star Wars on the brain when I wrote it. I'm sorry. So it was May the 4th.
It's like, well, let me actually see if I can find it in here. Find it on my... All right, but go on.
Anyway.
1974.
All right, 74. We were both wrong. Okay.
Oh, I was closer.
Why do you gotta equivocate it?
I'm just joking, Dragon. Let's go on.
What is it, like the year? It's like the year of the wait. Was it the year of the Exorcist? No, that was not. That was 73. Anyway,
Exorcist.
What was the big thing in 74? I know 76 was Rocky.
73 was the Exorcist. You were right.
Wait, no, 74 wasn't Godfather 2, was it?
Hey, I don't think the Godfather 1 had come out yet.
No, Godfather 1 came out in 72, Jacob.
Godfather.
No, look at Godfather 2. Wait, I know what 1 is. Look at 2.
Okay, you're right. 1974. You're right.
Okay, that's what it was. Anyway.
Okay, I guess I was mistaken. I thought Godfather came out later.
To quote Luke Cage, the year of Godfather Part 2.
To quote Luke Cage, I'm Luke Cage!
Oh, to quote Ernest Ray Harvey from Luke Cage, but yes.
I know, but I was talking about the show Luke Cage.
Yes. All right.
I think tube socks.
Was it 1974?
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right. So, let's see. So we reveal. Let's talk about Doofenshmirtz's plan here. Pray tell.
And why exactly it's his plan.
Let me put it this way. I feel the reason for the plan is far more well thought out than the plan itself. So so we learned that in Druselstein there was a bully, not just any bully, Jacob.
Big black boots Boris.
It was basically this large, presumably lederhosen thug who has big black boots. His name's Boris. It's very important.
That's how he got his name.
And what does he do, Jacob? What's his signature move? What is his bullying? What is his bullying kind of act of sorts?
Kicking sand.
Yes, he's one of those guys, but he kicks it in boots, though. He's not just kicking it at the beach. He kicks it. He definitely doesn't do it at the beach. Like, this guy, everywhere, every moment, every meaningful encounter in Dr. Doofenshmirtz's life, Boris is there.
And Doofenshmirtz is like, my first date, sand. I'd say, when I was at the sandbox, sand. My first date, sand. Bouncing my checkbook, sand.
Okay, that's my favorite one, by the way.
Bouncing the checkbook.
I love it so much. I just love the fact that he has to somehow he's got to bring the sand into the office.
And he just kicks it at Doofenshmirtz. And then the beach. Oddly enough, nothing. But I couldn't relax because I kept waiting for it.
Love it.
Which, to be fair, is reasonable.
Yeah. Anyway, so end of the day, we have this hilarious design of this giant, it's kind of this aerial helicopter, kind of giant bucket of sand and a boot, but it's like one of those boots on the mechanical kick me thing. It's good, they can reel it back and it's gonna drop and it's gonna kick, and he basically is gonna just kick it over. Was it specifically did it just happen to be over the Flynn house, or did he specifically target Perry the Platypus?
It's I think he was trying to get it on Big Black Boots Boris's house.
Oh, okay.
But it's just the wind blew it over.
I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it right here. I'm call as I see it. You know what, Jacob? Put up the message to the creators. Guys, I think there's been a miscalculation here in the writing process.
Oh, no.
Guys, doesn't it feel like not really a miscalculation, just kind of a fun thought. That, I think we should let Doofenshmirtz have this one, because you know what, Boris, it's disproportionate. Boris did a lot of kicking. He kicked. You said it yourself, fellas. Kicked sand in his face when he was in the sandbox, on his first date, was bouncing his checkbook, not at the beach, but all those times. You know what? This wouldn't have killed him. It wouldn't have. Wouldn't have really done damage. It wouldn't have been, unjust. I think Perry should let him have this one. I'm just saying,
I think Perry's more worried about the collateral damage.
Well, he is, but Boris isn't at the Flynn house, though.
I know. Perry stops evil regardless of its form, Dragon.
Not like it would kill anyone. It would just be sand in their face, which would be unpleasant. But you get that taste of what Doofenshmirtz has been tasting from this guy. And if they ask why, evil pharmacist, why? And he'll say, "Oh, don't look at me. This guy had it coming for many years. Take it up with Big Black Boots Boris,
the bully."
Yes, the bully, and he'll probably say, sounding like Jermaine Clement, "It's just Boris."
Just Boris.
Anyway.
Wait, now I need to rewatch Men in Black 3.
It is good. It's, again, obviously anything is better than Men in Black 4, but yeah, it is great.
How does it compare to Men in Black 2?
Honestly, I think there's an argument. It's so weird because Act 1 of Men in Black 2 was great. But then when we bring Kay back, then you get into the murky territory of we really undid that wonderful ending on the first movie. But 3, in a perfect world, I've said this before. I'm going to condense this. Perfect world, Men in Black, the way that trilogy would have gone. Not 4's an abomination. It doesn't count. The way the trilogy.
You mean the one with Chris Hemsworth and?
Yes, International is a train wreck. Anyway. So the way it would have worked is one's fine, one stays the same, but we would have kind of spliced together 2 and 3. You'd have Act 1 of 2, and then it turns into Men in Black 3. Basically, if you kind of altered Act 1 of Men in Black 3 and kind of made that the opening act of Men in Black 2, basically Jay being the top agent, You would have given a better reason for Kay to be in the story because you would have time traveled. It would have worked out nicely. Now, admittedly, you would have had to change the ending of Men in Black 3, the very end of Men in Black 3, but still, I think there was a middle ground there.
All right.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong, folks. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that you're wrong. I mean,
well, if you've seen 2, right?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 of them. I just haven't seen International.
Well, if you you don't need to watch International. If you rewatch 3, though, think about what I said.
I just need to figure out where to stream it because I don't know where it is. I mean, maybe it'll be on Disney Plus soon considering the whole Sony deal.
I think it's on. Do you have access to Peacock? Don't you?
Yeah.
Should be on Peacock. Check Peacock.
Well, I haven't paid for like the premium stuff yet. If it's on premium, I wouldn't be able to watch it.
Well, no, it's just like the Peacock's like not. Anyway,
my bad. Some of the stuff is only available through their paywall,
though. Anyway, so let's see. So okay. Point being, Doofenshmirtz kind of gets the sand blasted into his face yet again.
it's like, how does he put it again? Like, even on my sand kicking machine, sand.
Yep, it's great.
To
be fair, in that one coming.
Yeah, it's like you should have taken the wind into account. It's like I forgot the wind was a thing. I mean, you gotta understand why Doofenshmirtz would want to get revenge on him, but then again, it is just kind of stupid.
Well, I love. We got to talk about this inator had many names. He was spitballing, but I love the "Who's crying now" inator.
Yeah, it's like what is it? And it's like the now who's blinded by sand inator, or the look who's crying now inator. It's the inator suffix.
Yeah.
It's like the name was in flux.
Okay, anyway.
Yes.
So then we have kind of our convenience going on here where, okay, so after, we've done our jump and everything, and Candace is now eagerly on her way home, and Lawrence is stopping to not run over the turtles, which is a good PSA, by the way, kids. If you see a turtle in the street, don't run over it.
Like, some people say it's okay to pick them up and move them, but
yeah, that's true, actually.
It's like, just, carry the sides and to keep away from the face.
Yeah.
And make sure you can actually lift it because sometimes those suckers are heavy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking I have 2 pet turtles myself, and I love turtles.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So point being, this is boys. I would have loved to have heard. They lucked out when the inator went up. Basically, it somehow like Rube Goldberg a bunch of dirt falling into the giant gorge that was carved in the backyard,
and of course Candace had to tempt fate by saying like, "There's no way you can get rid of this."
Yep, and then of course I'd love to hear it one more time. He makes it rain on the the soil, which then grows the grass. And like, they landscaped. How nice!
Yeah, it's a good thing they got the quick growing formula for that dirt. I mean, how else do you explain the grass growing back so quick?
No, I'm in agreement with you.
It's like, how they did in the backyard. You guys made the lawn look great. It's all weeded and watered. Well done.
There you go.
It's like, well, what else did you guys do today? It's like, well, these 2 roisted oysters wheeled out me old iron, built a cracking match from Gregor's Gorge, and out this daft old git have one last knees up. I have absolutely no idea.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah, like, do you have any idea what he means?
I have to listen to it like piece by piece, but no, I don't.
These 2 roisted oysters wheeled out me old iron, built a cracking match from Gregor's Gorge, and out this daft old git have one last knees up.
Okay, well, neat. Okay, knees up's one of 2. Okay, knees up is either again another dirty euphemism we've repurposed here, or it just means like a knee slapping good time. Is it like basically it's like a wee because your knees are up in the air. Get it?
I think that's what it means. Yeah, it's like
you
say these 2 boys here like basically fixed my bike, had me like go over McGregor's Gorge and have this old man have one last go at it.
There you go.
But it's still just kind of funny. I like how he strings it all together and no one has any idea what he means.
Yep.
I have absolutely no idea.
God bless Malcolm McDowell. And that's the episode.
God bless Malcolm McDowell. You were right. It's like so it's another strong week then for you, right, Dragon?
Yeah, another strong week. Yeah.
All right. So you think that does it for this week then, right?
Yep.
All right. So thank you, Ellie B, for chiming in. Your commentary is always welcome. So join us next week on the Recap-inator, where the unthinkable happens and Candace's dream comes true, and where Phineas and Ferb get busted. Good night, everybody. He's a fishmonger, and he
flies. He's a fishmonger and he flies.